Martin, you've just come off stage here at the Armadillo. Before I reflect on your period at Celtic and the legacy of that, how does it feel to take the adulation of the fans one more time tonight?
Well, I must admit it was really lovely when Celtic came to me and said, at 25 years, would you fancy doing it? I was really concerned that, 25 years is a long time away, and generations have passed, so a lot of people, younger people, would not have heard of you. So for people to turn up tonight was fantastic, really, really great, because I was concerned that nobody would bother. But really lovely evening, and it was a wee bit of time, I suppose, to reminisce on some really decent days, and of course some not so decent.
John, we're here tonight reflecting and celebrating the man that was Martin O'Neill. First things first, talk to me about him and the influence he had on your career at Celtic.
Well, he had a huge influence on me right from the word go, because if it wasn't for Martin O'Neill, I would have never become a Celtic player. It's quite simple. I'd failed 4 medicals previously, so obviously he took a chance on me because I wasn't sure whether I'd ever pass another medical. I'd failed 4 medicals with 4 different clubs. The fact that Martin trusted in me, put his trust in me, paid £6 million for me. A big risk at the time, obviously, because as I said, I couldn't pass a medical at that time, but interestingly enough, the medicals were on my knee, and I played 225 games for Martin O'Neill and Gordon Strachan, and I never once put a packet of ice on my knee. So very interesting, really. But no, he was brilliant to me. I think he understood me as a person and a player. I had great respect for him, and some tremendous memories together. And nowadays we speak regular, and he comes and supports my charity. He's come to my the charity ball, my sporting lunch, and obviously my golf day. He attends every year, and we get on great. So yeah, tonight was great. It was reminiscing tonight, some old stories. He took the mick out of me quite a few times. Couldn't get the mic back off him. But great to see Neil and Stiliyan as well. Not only were they fabulous players that I played alongside, but they've both become great friends. And that's what's really good about this particular era, that team. We're all still great friends. We don't meet up together all the time because we're all doing our different things in life. But we've all become really good friends, and to say that about other football teams, I played for 8 football clubs, not got that overly big, tight relationship that I had with these Celtic players. So that's very special, great to know from myself.
And I was going to ask you about that. You had a fantastic career with some fantastic clubs and internationally also. Some great managers, but where does Martin sit in that list of managers that you've worked under?
Well, he's arguably the best. He has to be, because this is where I got most of my success at Celtic, and partly that was down to Martin and obviously Gordon Strachan for Gordon's first year. My final year where we won the title, myself and Maciej Żurawski scored 20 goals apiece. But as I said with Martin, he knew my game. He knew I was a bit sensitive at times. He knew I was aggressive. I might let him down once or twice with my aggression. I might let him down once or twice with my attitude, my fitness, everything else. But he believed in me. He never gave up on me, and he gave me that opportunity to come to Celtic, and I'll take some unbelievable memories away with me from playing under Martin O'Neill and Gordon Strachan, and obviously playing in front of an unbelievable support and a great team. So I will continue to take all their memories away with me for the rest of my days.
Stiliyan, you're one of 3 Celtic legends here helping us pay tribute to the great Martin O'Neill. Can you just talk us through that early period when Martin joined Celtic? And of course, you had experienced tougher times up until then, but is it fair to say perhaps changed your career?
Of course he did. I think he changed quite a few careers. I mean, I was only a young boy in a very experienced team, and we needed the right manager, a leader who can stride us in the right direction, point us in the right direction, and he managed to do that. He was ruthless from the start. He showed everyone what he wanted to do, what he wants to achieve. He wanted Celtic to be dominant, not just domestically but in the European stage as well. And I think he has managed to do that. We've managed to create an incredible team with some strong characters, and it's all down to him. Because as much as he was weird in the most possible nicest way, but he was unique as well. He knew how to motivate players. He knew how to manage a team. He knew how to make a team fearless and make sure that we face every single one with the same attitude, and all down to him. But it was not just his managerial ability, but also his human being side. You know, he knew everyone. He knew that everyone goes through difficult phases in life, troubles, and he was always there. And he still stands beside us every single time that we need him.
I know that he can be tongue-in-cheek sometimes when he tells his stories, but how proud are you that not only did you become the player you were at Celtic, but he then had the confidence and belief to take you further in your career and end up as a captain of a Premiership side in Aston Villa under his command?
A lot, and honoured as well, because you know when a manager like Martin O'Neill wants you to play for his team, you have to be at your best all the time. Don't get me wrong, we had our difficult times together like every other players. He nearly loaned me to a couple of teams when things were not going well for me at Aston Villa. But you know what, he stuck with me, he believed in me, and you know, I'm glad he did, because you know, I love playing under him. I knew how good he is as a manager, and I knew that I had to be at my best every single time, not just on the games but in training out of the pitch as well. And you know what, to become a captain it was a big responsibility for me, because he was expecting for me to lead in the right way on the pitch and off the pitch, and it was great that we managed to strike a good partnership. But end of the day, it was down to me to prove him wrong every time I'm on the pitch, that you know I can do it every single week, because that's what he demanded from the players.
And we're 25 years on from Martin's arrival at Celtic. You've been a great servant of the club, and you still are to this day a great supporter of the club. Would this Celtic side be the team it is had Martin not walked through the doors 25 years ago?
You know, a lot of people try to compare teams, managers. I think every manager, every team have got their own time, and we all respect it. You know, the main thing with Celtic is we don't really compete against each other. We kind of try to continue the legacy, and the legacy is to win, to have good managers, to have good players. And I'm certain that the Celtic Football Club has produced a lot of good managers, a lot of good players who went and done very well, done the club well as well. And what I would say was, I think Celtic Football Club and us as the players was honoured to have Martin O'Neill as a manager, and I believe that will be, you know what, like Neil Lennon when he was a manager, and the players talk about very highly of him, and he's Brendan Rodgers and Ange Postecoglou, so we can go on, you know, and you know, the great European side as well. So it's a legacy here that we try to follow and continue and push in the right direction together. Some of us, you know, played for this club many years ago, but now we really celebrate, and we are really satisfied with what the club is doing and how the club is developing.
Neil, tonight there was nobody on that stage could say they know Martin O'Neill better as a man, as a manager. Can you just describe the traits that make him the great that he is?
Well, he had an aura about him, as you can see, and a acerbic wit, just a high level of intelligence, a brilliant motivator, charismatic, and brilliant tactically. And he also, and I'm not blowing my old trumpet here, but he had a good eye for a player as well.
He did indeed, and he waxed lyrical about you in there, but was there ever any doubt in your mind that he would be a success when he came to Glasgow?
No, because what he achieved at Leicester was, at that time, you know, incredible. I mean, when you think about it, he got through the playoffs, and then he had Leicester in the top 10 for 4 seasons in a row, 3 League Cup finals, which he won 2. And the club had never seen that level of success before, on a limited budget as well. And I think it meant the world to him on a personal level as well as a professional level to get the call from Celtic. But the impact he had was immediate. I didn't expect it to be so meteoric. But let's get it right. Let's put this into perspective. He changed the face of Scottish football in our direction, in Celtic's direction, and it's been that way for the last 25 years. It's incredible. I'm stood here talking that it's 25 years since he walked through the doors.
I asked him a similar question about the emotional pull that brought him to Celtic, and you share that with him. You've been the manager, you've been successful here as Martin was, but how heavy is that extra burden of knowing what it means in your heart as well as what it means to the fans?
Well, I mean, it's everything. You know, I had 14, 15 years here at the club, and you live and breathe it. Obviously, the support is unique. You know, we're going over the old footage of the first time we were in the Champions League, and that first time we walked out there at Celtic Park on a Champions League group stage, you know, just changed everything for me. Never experienced anything like it, and elevated you, the home players, and at that time intimidated you. Now that's what the Celtic fans bring, and they still do 25 years on. From my own personal view, you know, growing up in Ireland and then going on to play for Celtic and doing whatever I've did, it's my life, you know, it's a life's work, and the pull of Celtic was too much for me, and obviously too much for Martin as well. So, and there's a romance about the club, and I'll give you an example. The James Forrest goal, the last kick of the ball, and to get 16 consecutive goals on a player who's now the most decorated in the club's history, it can only happen at a club like ours.
What credit do you give Martin for the player that you were and the manager that you became?
Well, he's the biggest influence on my career, on and off the field. But obviously, he made me learn how to win. He made me learn how to play the game. Made me understand the game, the nuances of the game, the tactical side of the game, the psychological side of the game. I inherited all that from him. And if I hadn't learned after 10 years of working with him in his pomp, then more fool me.
You know the history of the club. You know some of the great names and the influence that they've had. How will Martin O'Neill be remembered in the annals of time?
Everyone has their own opinion of, you know, every Celtic fan will have their own opinion of a player or of a manager. I can only speak about what he brought to the club, a connection that was immediate, a group of players that were loved, you know, and an atmosphere that was like no other at that time. And like I say, you know, the shift in power has never been returned. And remember, when he came in, Rangers were the treble winners and spending millions and millions of pounds on world-class players, and he flipped it with the help of people behind the scenes, no question about that. And the club has gone on to have unparalleled dominance now for the last 25 years, and he was the catalyst for that. So he will be remembered in Celtic history for a long, well, forever.
Celtic, you've been such a servant to us, the fans will adore you forever and a day, but what legacy or what does Celtic leave in your heart?
Well, you mentioned the word legacy, which I really don't believe in, you know, honestly, and it's not just playing it down. Legacy is, you know, I had the most wonderful time here. I was laced with some great moments and some disappointments, which is like mirrors life, really, as much as anything else. Obviously, the disappointments are there. You talk about Motherwell, you talk about the UEFA Cup final, two big moments, but all the great moments. Celtic descending upon Seville with 75,000 fans. No one else, no other team in European football could do that. Absolutely not. I don't care. Barcelona, Real Madrid, they couldn't do this. And Celtic have that. So if there's a reawakening of European football, this particular season, which is great and something that any manager Celtic should be aspiring to because of the greatness of the 1967 side and the great manager that was there. So those are the things that I wanted to bring to the football club. You can feel, but you've got to. That's what it is, because this club has found it now because of what Jock Stein did. This club has found it on big European nights, and and now, thankfully, they're coming back.